Hello everyone, this is Souhaib speaking from Black Metal Artists and Towards Six Metal, and I'm really honored to here to host Malefic. Welcome guys.
Hey, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yo. So let's start with the questions. Malefic originally formed back in 2003. What inspired the creation of the band and what was the early vision?
So initially, it was kind of an idea just floating around from one guy. Had just constant lineup changes. Couldn't really get anything solid. Maybe played a show he's here and there, but it never was a real serious band. It was more of an idea that kind of floated around. Um, so the early vision was pretty much the same. I think I wasn't there then, but um we wanted to pull multiple genres, mixing thrash and black metal and death metal kind of all together in this like seamless sound of all of our influences. Um and I think we pretty much hit the nail on the head with that, but it just was really hard to take off in the beginning because there was no I mean, you think about the early 2000s, it was all new metal. That's everyone wanted to hear with the
Yeah.
rap metal stuff and so trying to do like a thrash metal band during that time period was just like taboo. Like no one wanted to hear. They were like, "Are you guys playing punk rock? What is that?"
Yeah.
And so like it was yeah. I don't know, Jason, if you want to expand on this.
Yeah, for sure. Like to further speak to that, it did start in 2003 and it has quite a bit of its historic roots within like the Atlanta metal history. So along with just melding the genres initially, it has just like so much history from 2003 up till now to, its current iteration. So, excuse me. But yeah, for sure, that was one of the issues initially. It was just especially for this kind of material, for both drums and guitar, it's extremely tech. It's fairly technically demanding. I don't want to go too crazy, but it's fairly technically demanding, especially rhythmically, not so much melodically, but rhythmically, technically demanding for sure. So finding those kinds of people um, also came with maturity. Back in 2003, everyone was a lot younger. So having that kind of maturity in your musicianship wasn't really a thing up until finally when we get to our old age of our 30s now, to
I
where
see.
everyone's going to take it more seriously, take the dedication that's needed in order to actually put it on stage and be proud of what you're going to put out. So, for sure.
I see. I see. So you were inactive for a period of time, and why and what brought Malefic back, and how did the band evolve after that?
So, basically, what kind of happened was it was discouraging, and the main guy, Devin, who's not here with us today, he
He's alive, by
um
the way. He's alive.
he's alive. Yeah, he's totally alive. But he he just I mean he didn't really give up. He settled down. He had a family. He was raising some kids and kind of doing that whole thing. And that was also probably one of the reasons why he couldn't really pursue this seriously in the 2000s as well, because the kids were already born, if I'm not mistaken, at that point. And then you fast forward to like, it was more like 2014, 2015, 2016, um, that it really became a thing again. I think I joined in 2016, and honestly, that's when I consider the band actually starting for real. Because before that, there was never this serious push to make this a legit band that's actually doing something, releasing consistent music and whatnot. I'll let Jason talk more about him coming in and whatnot, but
Yeah, to further speak to about Devin, he was the start of the band. He created Malefic actually, and yeah, eventually it just got to a point, especially during the pandemic, where things just got a little tough, and the vision that me and Aaron had for the band was a lot further than probably what most people would think just joining the band, because it's extreme metal especially. So eventually, once he went ahead and left the band, is when we really had to go ahead and just sink our teeth into the project and take it as far as we could, as we thought we could go, especially. But yeah, it really just started again in 2015 when me, Aaron, and Devin were all in the band, and then we got it as far as we could up until the pandemic. But the pandemic really kicked everyone's ass, so I like to blame the pandemic more than anything for that, because it definitely hurt a lot of bands and the industry as a
I
whole at the time.
see.
But yeah, the
But yeah,
hiatus was like again mostly because things were just difficult, but eventually we got it going, and now we're at where we're at right now.
yeah,
I
and
see.
so like yeah, Jason and Devin were, it's searching for a drummer basically, and that's like really finding a solid drummer that you vibe with, that wants to play the music, that can take it as far as you want to take it, that wants to push the boundaries, or even just in extreme metal in general, like finding a drummer that's not in like 18 different bands. And as a drummer myself, like I get a lot of people that will come up to me and they'll hand me their like demo and like, hey, you want to play drums for this? Or hey, check out my music. And I'll listen to it and I'll be like, no, thanks, it's not my thing. Because most of the time it's fine. The music's fine. The people have good ideas and good intentions, but it's not anything that wows me
Yeah,
or piques my interest as a creator or a writer. And Devin showed me his stuff, and I was like, yeah, I'll get around to listening to it eventually. And then I saw him at a show, and he was like, hey, man, did you listen to my stuff yet? And I was like, no. And so on the way home, I actually listened to it, and I was like, oh my God, I need to be in this band. This is incredible writing. It was just like, every time it was like the music that I had dreamed about as a kid trying to play. But like I grew up in a small town in rural Virginia, and there wasn't a lot of musicians available. There wasn't anywhere for me to further my talent. I moved to Georgia in the early 2010s, whatever, 2012, 2015, 13, whatever. And so like that was kind of like, okay, I've got a fresh start. I can like find people that want to play this style of music. And Malefic happened, and we've been pushing it ever since.
I see. So, your debut full-length Impermanence arrived in 2026, exactly on 15 February. Uh, why was uh, why was now the right time to finally release a full-length album?
I,
So
I would say a few years ago was the time, but
yeah, no, it should have been released in like 2023 probably, or 2022. It was pretty much done in 2022. Um, so along this, like what basically Jason was saying, like me and he and I had a vision of the level of quality. The music, the writing is there, but it needs to be translated to paper, to tape, that how this needs to be. It needs to be um it needs
high
to have a certain
quality,
tone. It needs to
sound
have a
professional.
it's it's the intensity, the vibe needs to be there, the emotion needs to be in the playing itself. And so like I in 2018 I tracked drums. And then after I tracked drums, I suffered a neck injury, and then we really couldn't do a lot of much after that. I played some shows, I recovered, I had surgery, and we were playing shows and whatnot pretty much, and doing stuff and trying to work on the album at the same time. And then the pandemic happened, and that just set us back. And then people, they got discouraged. The pressure was too much to create like an awesome album. And probably by 2022, we were done. 2022, 2023. And then there were decisions made to retrack all the vocals, because the original vocalist was no longer with us.
I
Um,
see.
and so, yeah, there was just a lot of setbacks, a lot of changes. So, shopping for labels, trying to find somebody that wanted to help us see our vision come to fruition. Um, and yeah, ultimately, by the time you go through all the hoops and the red tape, you end up with a release that comes out in 2026. So I'm happy it's finally here, though. It's been the reviews that have come in, everything, everyone's support. It's been overwhelmingly amazing, and I'm chuffed. I don't even know really what to say for the most part. Like I've never worked this hard for something in my life and ever had it pay off like this. And so I'm really happy and excited. Anyways,
Just like open your arms and say, hell yeah. And
yeah.
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, thank
Thank you,
you.
man.
So, your title, Impermanence, is powerful. How does it mean represent lyrically and philosophically for the band?
I'll start this
Uh,
one off. It's fairly fitting. I mean, and I'll let Aaron go ahead and give you more detail about the lyrical content, but as far as the title itself, it's just very fitting of what we've gone through overall as a band in order to get to this point. You know, just there's just no certainty when it comes to this kind of shit. When you're recording, when you have members, when you play live. But also not only that, but it's also has its adjacent relevance to what's going on in the world today, politically, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where the lyrics kind of also reflect what we are feeling in today's day and age. And I'll probably let Aaron go ahead and take it from here as far as like the details and what the lyrics would mean.
well, I'm not going to go too much into details on the lyrics. I know that's brought up later in another question, so we'll go into that then. But I think in general, it's the way that the title came about is actually pretty uh it just happened. So like initially we wanted to call it Obsidian Earth after the song Obsidian Earth. The whole album art was created kind of the earth being pulled apart into a black hole, um and everything on fire. Um and so like two Atlanta bands released an album with the word Obsidia or Obsidian in the title, and we were like, nah, we can't. We got to come up with something different. And I'm sure some of you guys who are watching this interview will also notice that I don't have hair anymore. Um, I was having a party, going away party for my hair, where we all my friends came and we drank and we had a good time and we shaved my head. And at this party, I'm sitting there with the guy that mixed the album and Sam, our other guitar player, and we're just chatting and we started talking about life. And someone said, yeah, something about the impermanence of all things, and I was like, oh my god, that's
Hell
it.
yeah.
That's the album title. That's
Yeah.
because we knew we needed to change it. We tried so many different things, like um I can't even remember some of the ones we came up with, but like when that word just came to us, it was like this is perfect. Not only does this speak on all the stuff that we've endured over the last several years as a band, but also like what's going on with the current political climate in the world and what's going on in the current like natural climate and like everything that's like happening as far as like the lyrics and the content and that stuff that goes on in the album. So it's a great title. I I can't believe that that title came to be, and I'm really glad it did because it's powerful. Like you
Yeah.
said, I agree.
Yeah. Like like impermanence, it's the word that says it all. Impermanence.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, your sound blends death metal aggression with black metal atmosphere. How did you find the balance between these two worlds in songwriting?
So, uh, I mean, Jason could probably speak more on this, even though I am a songwriter as well. I think as far as like like you can play a lot of things riff wise on guitar, rhythmic wise on guitar, and the drums are really what makes it what it is. The same riff played with the the Toompa Toompa or whatever the thrash metal beat's gonna sound like a thrash metal riff. And if you play that same uh guitar riff with like the blast beat, Euro blast, the back and forth, like that's synonymous with most black metal, then it's
Yeah.
gonna kind of have that black metal vibe. And it's the same with death metal, is more on the downbeat or slower, groovier stuff. And I think all of that kind of just comes from my influences as a drummer, um, and wanting to put all those different styles in the music, because there was a lot of these songs that were very much just a death metal song, slow groove the whole time. And when I came into the picture, I was like, it needs to take you on a journey. So it needs to have its moments where it like the drums change here and give it a different vibe and then bring it back down. Um, and that was definitely something that I brought into it, for sure. And really just like the influences. It's I think more of that balancing act falls in the drums, but a lot of it is in the writing too. The more chordy, fuller chords, when you're using more notes in a chord, lends itself to the black metal sound, where death metal is usually more one note kind of riffs like we have in The Reaping or in Darkest Dreams. Um, and then even like if I had played a slow groove over top of Blood of the Throne, it probably could have came off more as a death metal song, but I played a thrash beat, and then you have more of that thrash vibe because it's a single note riff. To me, in my head, as soon as I hear it, I'm like, thrash metal. Yeah. So, yeah, Jason, I don't know if you got anything else to say to this regard.
Well, the dynamic between me and Aaron, to begin with, he's more of like the thrashier kind of like up tempo, and I'll be more on the death metal side of like the halftime stuff. So right then and there is where the blend is gonna just start to begin with, as far as having the mix of tempos and whatnot. That's just something that we both have our backgrounds in, and something we'd like to argue about a lot too. So that's another reason why it kind of sounds like that. But other than that, as far as like, and to argue with him, this is very guitar fucking driven music, despite what he likes to say about the drums being a large part, which it is. It's the heartbeat nonetheless, but this is very guitar driven music, with with heavy influences from like Old Man's Child, Carcass, Opeth as well, and bands like Bloodbath and whatnot. So the goal is to keep it fast, keep it evil, but keep it meaningful and emotional as well.
Yeah.
More than anything, the song needs to make you feel. If it's not going to make you feel, then we're fucking up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
the
that's
point.
100% the goal to begin with. But of course, under the guise of sounding as evil and aggressive as we can, but taking you through some journeys for sure.
Yeah. Well, tracks like Idiocracy, I think.
Idiocracy.
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 That's a tough word, by the way. It's
Yeah,
a tough one.
Idiocracy. And
Yeah.
Deserter feels socially charged. Do politics or modern society influence your music?
Oh, you, Aaron.
Yeah. I am very open-minded as far as things go, politically, but socially, I've always kind of been in that boat, since I was younger. I had a very, very different background than most average Christian American does, growing up. So I think a lot of that plays into my belief system, and I'm passionate about it. And when I am passionate about something, it's easy to write about that. So you get songs like Idiocracy, which is definitely more of a sarcastic, making fun at people who just um, have no clue of their own stupidity when it comes to the political ideologies and stuff, or blindly following other people. And you have songs like Obsidian Earth, which is more about mankind's destruction of the planet and how we can't stop killing each other. to Blood of the Throne, which is about the evilness inherent in uh, any and all political systems, really, when you put too much power on the top. Um, Personally, I am very far left leaning, but I try to bring the balance to have it be interpreted because everyone has different beliefs and opinions, and I'm definitely going to push mine in my writing for sure, 100%. And I'm not going to back down if you're a fascist piece of shit. But in general, I want the music still to be open to other people to be able to enjoy it. Um, Deserter, and the other song, Disembodiment. No, not Disembodied, Echoes of Silence, where I talk about I had a long, long battle with drug addiction, and I talk about my personal experience with that. And a lot of that is socially charged in a way that it deals with common issues that are happening all around. And I'm my job as a lyricist is to not only portray my emotions and opinions and feelings into the song, but also to try to get the listener to relate or understand. And if I feel like you can relate to something, I'm doing my job right.
I see. So, talking about the singles here, the songs, leading up to the album, how did it shape the final record?
So they were already all recorded. Um, Prior, those songs had been around the longest. We had released demos of them in the middle of the pandemic. Um, we definitely planned all those singles around music videos. Not all of them are out. I think In Darkest Dreams video is technically live, but we haven't made a big post to reveal it because we had some technical issues with the video quality. Um, so it was kind of tiered that way. The Blood of the Throne video will release in about a month as well. So there's still more content to come out of all those singles. I feel like at the time we were trying to pick the ones that had the best variety of our sound. I feel like the album as a whole was kind of already there. So then it was just like, okay, which ones do we pick to use as singles? Because they're all really good in our opinion, and they're all relatively short. So you could literally use either one as a single. We had actually already shot a music video for Blood of the Throne, but since we wanted to do a different, completely different video for it, more of a satire kind of thing. Um, we decided that it should be the third single, even though it was probably the strongest song on the album. At least if you look at the statistics, it's way leading the pack. But um, we felt like we can't come out the gate with a music video that's satire. Everyone will just pigeonhole us as this band that is satire or a gimmick act, which we are not a gimmick act. But we wanted that video to be a little bit silly, but not so. I guess Jason can tell you more about that, but I don't
So
want to. I
yeah.
talk.
Yeah, he talks a lot, right? Um, no,
That
but yeah, to further speak on what Aaron was saying initially, we thought that those three songs were a good snapshot of what you were going into with the album, but with also the intent that the album has a lot more to come and give people a little bit of surprise when they actually dig deep outside of the singles themselves, because we do have some other singles on the album, or songs on the album, I should say, that are not exactly like that, but like more of like slower tempo and whatnot. That being said, that video that Aaron is talking about for Blood of the Throne, yes, we did not want to originally release it first because we didn't want to be pigeonholed as like some kind of like satirical band, because we had the crazy idea to go for like a rap kind of style video for the single. We are an ATL band, and hip hop, R&B, and rap is deeply rooted within ATL. And I thought it would be just like a cool way to give a nod to that and have fun with the video, maybe piss a few people off. Just because this genre of music to begin with, uh, I guess has a
Takes
lot of
itself too.
elitists. You could say like a lot of elitists. Like one of the reviews that we got for the album, which was fairly positive, but like they pointed out that, we're not gimmicky, no face paint, no, dressing up, no spikes, no chains, nothing. Like I'll wear a fucking hoodie on stage with this hair, and you usually typically don't see a guy that looks like me on stage playing extreme metal. So, I just thought it was a really fun idea to just have that kind of juxtaposition with the music and the video. And again, I kind of wanted to piss a few people off and be like, what the fuck is this? It's fucking extreme metal. Why they got this shit going on? I want that. But I also think people will think it's pretty cool. So that's what we're going for. That's coming out really soon. And yeah, Blood of the Throne is probably the quintessential track of the album. It is
Oh,
up till this point, I would consider it like the DNA of what Malefic is right now. As far as what Malefic will turn into, we'll see. Um, but yeah, Blood of the Throne is like a quintessential track. It Haunts, which is the last track, uh, my favorite track, in my opinion. It's more akin to the sound of where Malefic will be going. And The Reaping or In Darkest Dreams is also, I would say, more akin to Blood of the Throne. So, yeah.
I see. Uh,
There you
Sorry
go.
guys, I'm really sorry.
No, don't worry about it. Go.
I'm
yeah, no,
guilty.
well, I'll just jump back into what I was saying. I feel like in general, like black metal takes itself too seriously. I feel like the whole corpse paint, the devil worshiping, like, I mean, if you're gonna worship Satan, you're just giving acknowledgement to Christianity, and it's I mean, no one sings more about Christianity than black metal artists because Satan is a Christian concept. So I don't know. I feel like bands like Immortal, they never took themselves really seriously. I mean, they're like basically a power metal band. They had these grandiose songs about a complete mythical realm that they came up with, but they play black metal and it's evil and it's cool sounding, and like they didn't take themselves that seriously, and Bot never did with his solo stuff either. So um I feel like, yeah, the corpse paint thing just really wasn't us. We did try it out in the beginning. I know several people have mentioned this in reviews and whatnot, but it didn't really fit. If everyone is doing it, then we're not being unique. We're not doing something new. Like, so I feel like there are bands out there that do have the makeup and the stuff, and it's different and it has a vibe, and it's but the white corpse paint thing, painting your face up, putting all the nails on your like leather arm guards, like it's been overdone in my opinion.
So, can you walk us through the recording process at Quasimodo Studios and working with Alex Pera on the mixing and mastering?
Yeah, so actually, as a matter of fact, I am sitting in Quasimodo Studios right now. I'll show you
Oh
guys
shit.
a brief glimpse of what we got here. So this is the drum room, really. That's all I'm gonna show you today. But um, we recorded everything in here drum wise. We did a lot of other stuff in here too as well. Um, but as far as like Quasimodo Studios is basically my place. Um, I've got everything mic'd up right now because I've been trying to do some playthrough videos for you guys soon. Um, but having your own space, I think, as a musician is completely an essential thing because it allows you to have the the weight off your shoulders as far as the pressure of recording. Recording is very hard. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
Um, I know a lot of audio engineers that's their motto, recording is hard. Because it is. I mean, you're trying to capture organic live sounds on a digital media, but you want it to sound like it does to your ear the best way possible. So like I definitely we spent a bit of time probably recording because we took our time. And we were also playing shows at that time and doing a lot of other stuff. I started tracking the drums in 2018. I think I did it in about 3 months. And then because I had to go on tour with another band, and I was gone in Europe for like a month and a half, and then back to it here, and then tracking guitars and whatnot. And I engineered everything, set up all the guitars. Jason did all the bass engineering, but most everything else, vocals, everything I engineered. And then of course I got to a point basically with the mix where it's like I can't take it to where it needs to go. I want it to be this certain sound and sound organic, but still sound modern and still have that pristine quality to it. And Alex Parra has been a good friend of mine for many years. I played in a band called Paladin with him, and before that, we played in a band called Sybaritic together. He's an excellent audio engineer, and he did an absolutely fantastic job. I cannot be more happy with how this mix sounds. And I really feel like it captures the vibe. I know Jason probably has a little bit more to say about this, the recording process and whatnot, but
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. So yeah, like Aaron said, all the drums were tracked at Quasi, and as far as the guitars go, uh, both me and Devin tracked the guitars together. I did all the bass, and then all the guitars were edited painstakingly by Aaron, who did a fucking crazy good job about that. And then we reamped our guitars with Alex. We used a Victory Super Kraken for one of the heads, and then the other one was a Synergy head that used the SLO and the Mesa Boogie modules. Very happy with how the guitar tones came out. And then so yeah, we did it all pretty much DIY essentially, outside of Alex doing the mixing. It was just easier that way. And yeah, as far as the guitars go, considering this is fairly guitar-driven music, it was very important that the guitars were as audible as they could be and as audible as they are. And on top of that, the mix that we had for the drums, it was imperative to us that we had an identity with those drums because of, you know, you've heard it from like everyone lately, but everything's starting to sound the same in metal, especially when it comes to drums. Everything's kind of processed with sample replacements and whatnot. So it was our goal to avoid that completely. And since we're such a dynamic band and the music calls for the dynamics to be heard, especially since we're so demanding when it comes to like the rhythmic aspect to this band, having the dynamics come through was just very important for us. So, and I think we achieved that greatly with this mix. Alex is a local legend at this point to Atlanta. So I think he did a great job. I think you can hear everything great. Everything's nice and crystal clear and crisp. And yeah.
Yeah,
Salutations
I
to
think
Alex.
yeah, he did. Congratulations, man. I mean, I still get giddy on how good it sounds when I listen to it. Because like I feel like every band like they push everything to 10, and you have like this all frequencies are like all at like the same level, constantly berating your ears. And I listen to something for like 20 minutes. I'm like, I gotta turn this off. It tires my ears out. I'm like tired. My ears are like fatigued from hearing it.
Don't age
And
yourself now, buddy. Don't age yourself.
I don't feel like I feel like our album doesn't have that. We wanted the dynamics. We wanted to have and that's a lot of the thing that modern metal just has. Everything is sampled. Everything sounds the same, like Jason was saying. Everyone wants to be so loud, but like Metallica already fucking won that.
Yeah.
Like it's over. The loudness war is over. Let's do something different now. And so I feel um like guitars being gained all the way to 10, like metal, black metal calls for dynamics. uh Metal in general calls for dynamics, and we don't use it because everyone has this idea that everything needs to be the same volume and heard and super in your face. And I feel like that's not necessarily wrong, um, but it's been overdone. And I feel like at this point now we definitely uh, need to push music in a direction where everyone's doing something different. We have our vibe, we have our sound, and we know what this album needed to sound like. We wanted it to sound still raw and have that aggression and then energy behind it, but also have good production to where you can hear everything. And that was one of the biggest problems when doing the album was uh pushing everyone. Recording is hard. I've heard many audio engineers say recording is hard. So pushing ourselves to um achieve this sound that we need to see, you need to do it in the room. You need to play it that way.
Yeah.
If the guitar calls for more emotions in it, you need to dig into those chords. And we're using very low gains. So a lot of that comes from the guitar player's hand, that aggression, that bite. I think Alex even said, he was like, these guitar chops, they're so aggressive sounding. They just everything sounds so attack driven. And that was one of the things we were wanting for, because modern guitarists soak their tone in so much gain that they can't tell where their pick chops are. It just sounds like a blur. And we
Yeah, it's
wanted you to hear every single like hit of the string in the distortion, in the sound. And Alex killed it. He knocked it out of the
yeah.
park.
Yeah, it's putting like recording puts you under a microscope, really, and it makes or breaks a lot of bands sometimes. There's a clip that I love from the Foo Fighters. It's like a random documentary. I forget which one, but Taylor Hawkins is talking about RIP, by the way. But he's talking about how the old drummer from Foo Fighters, before he had joined the band, when they went to the studio to record, it was just hard for him because, you have to play to the click, you have to be on the map, you have to be on time, you can't fuck up.
Yeah.
And it just broke that dude, especially when Dave Grohl went ahead and recorded all the drums behind him because he couldn't fucking do it. So, it again, it just breaks people. And especially with this material, it's so demanding. And we wanted to make sure that we had those dynamics extremely transparent, extremely clear. You want to hear those guitars hitting those 30-second notes every stroke. So that's what we went for, and I think that's what we achieved, and we're very proud of it.
I see. So talking now about Atlanta, it has a strong underground scene. How has your local environment influenced Malefic's identity over the years?
Want me to get this
Um,
one?
I'll start just a little. I got lucky when I moved to Atlanta in 2011. Um, I got on Craigslist, which is like a uh ad space, looking for musicians to start a band. I met Taylor from Paladin and ultimately Alex as well, and had a band called Sybaritic back then. But that introduced me to a lot of the musicians in the scene. And at that time, death metal and thrash was really king in the scene. Atlanta has always had a music scene as far as like the hip hop, the jazz culture, the um indie rock, the hippies, the jam bands are here too. You have all these different styles of music that come together. And there's also in metal, there's a lot of doom and sludge here. And that really is probably the more prominent sound in Atlanta is the sludginess. I mean, if you look at bands like Mastodon, they're started out more of a sludgy kind of vibe, and they emerged from this scene as well. Um, so I think like everyone knowing each other as far as like jamming together, playing with each other, we're always kind of like, oh, that was cool. And then you hear something in the scene, but I think a lot of uh the scene was very in the beginning very loose. I got that 10 minute warning again, by the way. So the scene was loose, and a man named Amos, he plays for Deceased drums. Uh, he came in and started like, all right, let's get this venue locked down for metal, get this venue, and started bringing in touring acts into the city. and that started to bring the metal community, the people in the city, more together and playing a lot, and it's just grown from there. um and then there's people like our label Jay, with Terminus Hate City, who has done an excellent job. He's taken it a further level by doing the label and bringing in bands, signing bands, and really trying to propel the Atlanta scene. Like, he works probably harder than anyone I know trying to build this scene up in Atlanta as far as the metal community goes. But Jason, you can talk. I'll let you guys know we have 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, right off of that, I mean, one of the reasons why we signed with Terminus to begin with is because Jay worked so fucking hard to build the scene. We saw that and we were just like, yeah, we want to be a part of it. But yeah, like the roots of Malefic are just like all over Atlanta metal history. It's, it's gone through so many iterations and it's so many people have had their hands on this band to the point that like when we need to play a live show, we're hitting up a former Malefic member. You know what I mean? Like, it's like almost like we have a little bit of a collective. So there's been quite a bit of great influence upon Malefic when it comes to the Atlanta metal scene. So many people have been in this band, and up until now, where we started to take it more seriously. And luckily we have a more solidified lineup, but yeah, like Atlanta metal is all over. Its fingerprints are all over this band. It's all over the music. It's all over the DNA, and that's something that we never shy away from. Something we're proud of, and that we hope to shine a light on as a band. Like just we hope to take the band as far as we can go to give the respect to the Atlanta metal scene and the Atlanta music scene as a whole. It's a fucking talented group of people. When I moved here, because I moved from New York, as soon as I moved from Atlanta, like the musicianship was way higher immediately. Um, I was 100% out of my league initially, and then like it was just something to work up to, and it was inspiring. And yeah, Atlanta deserves its recognition within the metal scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much talent here, so many great bands that deserve so much,
Yeah.
and they're getting there. It's
Yeah,
starting to get recognized as a
yeah.
staple.
I mean, Mastodon for sure as like the pioneers, but there's so much more. There's so much fucking more. A lot of talent in Atlanta in it. It deserves to be on a international, nationwide scale, whatever level you see fit.
So, now that the Impermanence is out, what's next for Malefic? Like any live shows, any new recording, or any like physical editions?
For sure. We have our first album release show is in Athens, which is eight
Georgia.
days from now. Yeah, Athens, Georgia, not not Greece. That'd be lit. But yeah, in Athens, Georgia, that's on February 28th. And then we're hoping to get another show planned in maybe April, late April, if not that, after that. But that'll be like the local album release show for Atlanta. That'll be like the big one. But we have a run planned in April as well, like a small run up the coast. And as far as new music goes, we have a few singles in the works. But yeah, that's something that we're definitely working on as far because the next album is inevitably going to sound different.
Hope
Um,
so.
but the goal is to still sound Malefic for sure.
Yeah, we still
Uh,
want to capture that evil, that anger, that emotion.
Aggression, yeah, the aggression, the
It's got to be there.
intensity. Um, but yeah, needless to say, it will evolve into what it evolves into, and yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we have planned to do some CD release. The biggest thing that we really want to do is some serious touring. Um, we've had great success so far. It's only been a week today. As of today, it's been a week that this album has been fully out, and the outpour of love and support towards us has been absolutely outstanding and overwhelming. And we are so grateful for that. Um, as well as like, yeah, we still want to keep taking this to the next level. And so in my mind, like getting on a big tour or trying to get to Europe and tour over there is probably uh on the next list of cards as far as shows go. We do have a small little tour in April planned just regionally to do a couple of album release kind of shows because we'll have merch, we'll have CDs. um, we do have vinyls coming out. You can pre-order the vinyl at terminushatecity.com. It will be available. If you go to our website, www.maleficband.com, you can have the front page is links to all that, all the streaming services, pre-orders, all of our shows that are upcoming is right there, easy to see. Plus, there's other content on the website that you can't find anywhere else as well. Um, but yeah, we do have vinyls. The vinyls look beautiful. They'll be out soon. Um, but we want to take this as far as we can go. And I feel like in order to do that, we need to be
Boy.
showcasing ourselves. We can't just we can't just wait until we get a big tour when we have to push ourselves to try to get momentum going as far as putting ourselves in as front as ugh. We need to try to get momentum going as far as putting ourselves in front of as many people as possible right now while the music's hot, it's flowing, the algorithm is sending it to different people's like bands you might enjoy list and whatnot while it's in everyone's mind. um I do have a big plan for August of a tour to book August or September. um and after that, the sky's the limit, really. But we definitely feel like the music speaks for itself in this band. Once we started releasing the singles, I realized real quickly that the music was kind of already speaking for itself. And as a drummer, I feel like I'm often a listener too, and I'm probably also very elitist as well. But when I first came into Malefic and listened to Devin's demos that he had, I was like, this is amazing stuff. The world needs to hear this stuff. And I still feel like where Jason and I and everyone, Sam, Andy, have all taken it to at this point is just elevated it to a step above where it was then. And um, I feel like that's ultimately the goal as far as like pushing the band and pushing the music. It definitely will sound a little different as far as like the sound, but not really because we're always trying to push. We're always trying to pull more influences into it, and the drums are going to be there the same. Like I'm, I'm not a one trick pony, but I do like a certain drum beat, mainly the thrash variety. So that's still going to be there, and definitely the vocals aren't going to change. The lyrics, all that content is still going to be, and the emotion is still going to be in the music. We do have a couple singles ready. I think moving forward too, we're probably going to focus more on single releases, just because that's kind of what feeds
The
the
algorithm better.
internet. It feeds Spotify and all the streaming services. We will still release albums. I feel like writing a whole album is definitely something that is still there. But for the time being, I think we'll release a few singles. And I actually have plans to release a few more songs off the album as singles. They're already released, but it'll be videos. A
I
couple of the tracks
see.
off the album, I want to have some more video content available to go with those. Um, and once you guys watch the video for Reaping, you will see that it's very artistic. We don't want to showcase the band. We don't want to be just that band that stands around in a freaking uh field playing guitars or in a fucking warehouse playing guitars and drums. Like we want to do something different and unique for each song because the future of music is paired with visual content, and that's what people are after. And so like as the music landscape is changing, we have to evolve too, and ultimately, yeah, we hope to get there. Jason.
You're good. You covered that, bro.
But yeah, no, I definitely think that getting on some major tours, getting on some festivals, anything, it's hook, line, sinker. It's done. Like it's I feel like the music speaks for itself. It's just getting it in front of the right people.
I
And I
see.
feel like Terminus has helped us get to that point. The PR companies that are working with us have helped us get to that point, and it's been great so far. It's only been a week. I can't imagine where it will be in a month. So I'm hoping that these tours come through and things happen, and that everyone stays well, and it's a good time, and we just ride it where it takes us.
Yeah. So now I guess we're done with the interview. So do you have any salutations, any advice, any word to fans?
Jason?
Ooh. Uh, well, be on the lookout for the future Malefic. We will be evolving our sound, and but just keep in mind we're going to keep it as technical as we can, as aggressive as we can, as evil as we can, and be on the lookout for us all this year. And please recommend us to any countries that you want to see us in. We'd love to go to Tunisia and anywhere else. So we're happy to take this all over the world. Invite us and we'll come.
Sure, sure.
Um, I mean, there's not really much to add to that. Like, I feel like just being able to be a part of this journey with the listener is what really moves me. As someone who writes music but also really loves to listen to music, almost more than I love writing music, I feel like being able to connect with people is a blessing. And I feel like there's no better way to connect with people than art or music, which is a form of art, um, through lyrics, through the emotions of the music itself, and even the visual content that we have prepared in the coming months that we will be releasing. So I feel like it's very gratifying and very humbling too to have all this overwhelming support, to be here being interviewed, especially with all the trials and tribulations. I mean, I broke my neck pretty much after I tracked the drums. I didn't know if I would ever drum again. Um, I had surgery and I did physical therapy and I got back to it. So like I think in general, like you never know where life is going to take you. And I've done a lot in my life. I'm grateful for that. And but this is the first true project that I feel really allows my soul to connect with the soul of other people. And that is something, and one of the reasons why I love music so much and love playing music so much is to being able to connect with the audience.
Yeah.
As a drummer vocalist, being in the back and still being able, I use a headset mic, which is a little lame, but I move around a lot. I'm eccentric. I like to be able to see the audience and connect with people. I'm not only just saying words, I'm telling a story. I'm getting out my aggression, my sadness, my woe, every emotion possible. And I'm doing that and trying to connect with other people. And that's why we ultimately create art as artists. It's to connect. And I think that's ultimately what will save humanity is art and music because it's what connects us all in the end.
Yeah. And that's metal, dude.
Y'all heard him
Yeah, metal.
say, I don't have much to add, and then talk for like 15 minutes, right? That just happened, right?
It wasn't 15 minutes, but yeah, no,
We got much to add to that.
yeah, no, it's been good. I honestly like the interview process, like being able to do a Zoom interview is super cool because I can just like chill and I got my
Yeah,
cool backdrop here of just my room.
this is technically our first interview as a band, so
No shit.
I would say, is it not?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've not done anything other than I had to write a whole like book report on the album. So like when we started with the PR company, they wanted me to do a track by track analysis, and of course my analytical brain is like, huh. And I got into it. I'm like going way into detail. Okay, this song, it wasn't just like what the lyrics were about, but it was a lot the writing process, like all this stuff. And I can send that document to you if you'd like, because it's like it really is like it's like 7 or 8 page. Like it not only is like the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions, events that happened during the writing process, just all kinds of like deep, detailed information that only we know because it was happening to us at the time and what was going on in our heads through the time. And I probably over explained, overwrote about it, but it's it was definitely one of those things where it's like this isn't really an interview, but I feel like this is like homework.
Like fully
Like,
scripted. That sucks, dude.
nah, I actually enjoyed it because I was like, okay, this is like a good starting point for like some kind of official history or something of the making of the album. Maybe we can include it on like a bonus thing some years later if it stands the test of time, if it doesn't fall to impermanence.
Thank you guys for watching this video, watching this wonderful interview with Malefic. I'm really honored to have you guys here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you might. And be metal, stay metal.
Hell
Thanks, brother.
yeah.
Hell yeah,
Appreciate you.
dude.